Evening all, I don't know what you've been getting up to this evening, but this is what I've been doing, making a very simple kind of open shelf unit. A friend of mine asked if I could put something together for them that would slot in a gap between the arm of their sofa and the wall. Just something that would fit neatly down the side, that would enable them to rest a glass of wine on it and maybe put a lamp towards the back to brighten up that corner of the room. And this is what I did. Now they were keen to not have to go out and buy wood or buy a piece of furniture unnecessarily, so the obvious choice was to go and find a pallet, which, if like me, you live in London, is very easy to do because they're literally lying around everywhere if you look. So I found myself a pallet. Once you've got your pallet, the first thing you need to do is break it up into all its pieces. Be careful doing this, not only because there are big long nails in pallets, but also you don't want to damage the wood. If you want some nice long planks, you don't want the ends of the planks splitting when you're ripping them apart. Once you've taken your pallet apart, the next step then obviously is to measure up your pieces and cut them to size. I did that very simply and very easily with a handsaw. Once you've got your pieces cut to size, the next step then is to make your pallet wood look a little bit more presentable. So the first thing I did was got my sander out with a very coarse sanding paper on the bottom, and I just took the worst of the edges off of all of that pallet wood, and it's finished up like this, as you can see. So then the next thing to do was to simply put the thing together. And because I didn't want any screw heads showing, I thought the best way to do that would simply be to correctly drill to the right depth for some wooden dowels, use some glue, and then overnight put some pressure on it, which I'm doing with this nylon strap, and let the glue go off. And by morning, this should be nice and secure and nice and rigid. Even in the last half an hour or so since I finished gluing, it's already starting to feel very, very solid. So what have I got to do to finish this one now? Well, not much really. I'll get the sander on it again once it's dried. I'll get a much finer grit sandpaper, so we'll sand this down really fine and smooth, make it look really nice. And then depending on what we want it to look like, we'll either get the primer out and paint it, or if the wood grain looks really good, then it will be a wood varnish. And maybe a nice clear varnish on this one is what we should do if that sand goes really well and it looks nice, really fine. And as you can see, I'm working here in my lounge. I've got some sheets down, I've got the workbench out, but even if you haven't got much space, you can achieve quite a lot. And it's cost me nothing because the pallet was free and the tools are my own. So what are you waiting for? Go find yourself a pallet, get creative and make something awesome. See ya.